like if they were who they were, if they spoke their being forward. And they get stronger and stronger and stronger, and we don't know the limits to that. We do not know the limits to that. Probably running at about 51% of our capacity. Something, I mean, you can think about this yourselves. I often ask undergraduates how many hours a day you waste or how many hours a week you waste. And the classic answer is something like 4 to 6 hours a day. You know, inefficient studying, watching things on YouTube that not only do you not want to watch, that you don't even care about, that make you feel horrible about watching after you're done. That's probably 4 hours right there. You know, you think, well, that's 25 hours a week, it's 100 hours a month, that's 2.5 full work weeks, it's half a year of work weeks per year. And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be, who knows how much more efficient? 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's completely, it's off the charts. It's not so obvious to me that people would take the meaningful path. You know, when you say, well, nihilists suffer dreadfully because there's no meaning in their life and they still suffer. Yeah, but the advantage is they have no responsibility. So that's the payoff, and I actually think that's the motivation. Say, well, I can't help being nihilistic. All my belief systems have collapsed. It's like, yeah, maybe. Maybe you've just allowed them to collapse because it's a hell of a lot easier than acting them out. And the price you pay is some meaningless suffering, but you can always whine about that and people will feel sorry for you. If you live a pathological life, you pathologize your society. And if enough people do that, then it's hell. Really, really.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Talk about life, baby.
You're asked to outline the place you'd like to end up, which is your desired future, and also the place that you could end up if you let everything fall apart, is so that your anxiety chases you and your approach systems pull you forward. You're maximally motivated then. And it's important because otherwise you can be afraid of pursuing the things that you want to pursue, right? And that's very common. And so then the fear inhibits you as the promise pulls you forward, but it makes you weak because you're afraid. You want to get your fear behind you, pushing you. And so what you want to be is more afraid of not pursuing your goals than you are of pursuing them. Putting yourself in a challenging mind frame is much easier on you psychophysiologically, because you don't go into the generalized stress response to the same degree, and you're activating your exploratory and seeking systems, which are dopaminergically mediated and that involve positive emotion. So if you can face something voluntarily rather than having it chase you, it's way better for you psychophysiologically. So that's partly why, well, it's worthwhile to go find the dragon in its lair instead of waiting for it to come and eat you. So, and especially when you also add the idea that if you go find the dragon in its lair, you might find it when it's a baby instead of a full-fledged bloody monster that is definitely going to take you down. Don't avoid small problems that you know are there. Face them, because they'll grow into big problems all by themselves. And you can think about, imagine the tax department sends you a notification. You owe them like $300. Well, it's, you know, that's annoying. Maybe you don't even want to open the letter. Or maybe if you do, you just put it on the shelf. But that damn thing doesn't just sit there like a piece of paper on the shelf, right? You ignore that for 5 or 6 years, it's going to become attached to all sorts of horrible things. And if you ignore it long enough, you get the idea. It's going to turn into something that is completely unlike the little piece of paper that it's written on. And many, many problems in life are like that. You'll see that they pop their ugly little head up, and you know, and you might want to turn away. You might not want to think about it, which is the easiest way of turning away, right? You just don't attend to it. You know, if you could have your life the way you wanted it in 3 to 5 years, if you were taking care of yourself properly, You know, what would you want from your friendships? What would you want from your intimate relationship? How would you like to structure your family? What do you want for your career? Well, how are you going to use your time outside of your job? And how are you going to regulate your mental and physical health, and maybe also your drug and alcohol use, because that's a good place to auger down, you know, because alcoholism, for example, wipes out, you know, 5 to 10% of people. So you want to keep that under control.
Almost took me out, shit.
And then, so maybe you develop a vision of what you would like your life to be, and that associates the goal. Well, once the goal is established, and then you break down the goal into micro processes that you can implement. The micro processes become rewarding in relation to their causal association with the goal, and that tangles in your incentive reward system, and that's the thing that keeps you moving forward. And the way it works is that it works better if it produces positive emotion when it can see you moving towards a valued goal. Okay, well, what's the implication of that? Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation working out. And so the more valuable the goal, in principle, the more the micro processes associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge. And so what that means is, well, you get up in the morning and you're excited about the day, you're ready to go. And so as far as I can tell, what you do is you specify your long-term ideal. Maybe you also specify a place you want to stay the hell away from, so that you're terrified to fail as well as excited about succeeding, because that's also useful. You specify your goal. You do that in some sense as a unique individual. You want to specify goals that make you say, oh, if that could happen as a consequence of my efforts, it would clearly be worthwhile. Because the question always is, why do something? Because doing nothing is easy. You just sit there and you don't do anything. That's real easy. The question is, why would you ever do anything? And the answer to that has to be because you've determined by some means that it's worthwhile. Number one, specify your damn goals, because how are you going to hit something if you don't know what it is? That isn't going to happen. And often people won't specify their goals too, because they don't like to specify conditions for failure. So if you keep yourself all vague and foggy, which is real easy, because that's just a matter of not doing as well, then you don't know when you fail. And people might say, well, I really don't want to know when I fail, because that's painful. So I'll keep myself blind about when I fail. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living, despite the fact that it's going to be, you know, anxiety provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. Obviously, the goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, that justifies your effort. Okay, so then what do you do? Well, then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. Google Calendar. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. Okay, so what's the rule with the schedule? It's not a bloody prison. That's the first thing that people do wrong. They say, well, I don't like to follow a schedule. It's like, well, what kind of schedule are you setting up? Well, I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, you know, and then I just go play video games, because who wants to do all these things that I have to do? It's like, wrong. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want.
Thursday night football on Prime. It's on.
What's the right ratio of responsibility to reward? And you can ask yourself that, just like you'd negotiate with someone who is working for you. It's like, okay, you got to work tomorrow. Okay, so I want you to work tomorrow. And you might say, okay, well, what are you going to do for me that makes it likely that I'll work for you? Well, you could ask yourself that, you know. So maybe you do an hour of responsibility and then you play a video game for 15 minutes. I don't know, whatever turns your crank, man. But, you know, you have to negotiate with yourself and not tyrannize yourself. Like you're negotiating with someone that you care for, that you would like to be productive and have a good life. And that's how you make the schedule. It's like, and then you look at the day and you think, well, if I had that day, that'd be good. Great. You know, and you're useless and horrible, so you'll probably only hit it with about 70% accuracy, but that beats the hell out of 0, right? And if you hit it even with 50% accuracy, another rule is, well, aim for 51% the next week, or 50.5% for God's sake, or because you're going to hit that position where things start to loop back positively and spiral you upward. And so that's one way that you can work on your conscientiousness, is plan a life you'd like to have. The other way you do that is by having a little conversation with yourself about, as if you don't really know who you are, because you know what you're like. You won't do what you're told. You won't do what you tell yourself to do. You must have noticed that. It's like you're a bad employee and a worse boss, and both of those work, you know, for you. You don't know what you want to do, and then when you tell yourself what to do, you don't do it anyways. You should fire yourself and find someone else to be. But you know, my point is that you have to understand that you're not your own servant, so to speak. You're someone that you have to negotiate with, and you're someone that you want to present the opportunity of having a good life to. And that's hard for people because they don't like themselves very much. So, you know, they're always like cracking the whip and then procrastinating, and cracking the whip and then procrastinating. And it's like, God, it's so boring and such a pathetic way of spending your time. And you know what that's like, because you probably waste like 6 hours a day. And I think we did an economic calculation about that a while back, right? Your time's probably worth $50 an hour, something like that. I mean, you're not getting paid that now, but you're young, and so this is investment time, and what you do now is going to multiply its effects in the future. So let's say it's $50 an hour, which is perfectly reasonable. So if you waste 6 hours a day, and you are, then you're wasting about $2,000 a week, or about $100,000 a year. So like, go ahead, but that's what it's costing you every hour. And you need to know what your damn time is worth. So let's say it's not $50, it's 30, whatever. Maybe it's 100, it's somewhere in that range. One of the things you should be asking yourself is, when you spend an hour, was that, well, would have I paid someone $50 to have had that hour? And if the answer is no, it's like, well, maybe you should do something else with your time. And it depends on whether or not you think that your time's worthwhile. But the funny thing about not assuming that is, if you assume your time isn't worthwhile, what happens is you don't just sit around sort of randomly in a state of responsibilityless bliss. What you do is you suffer existentially. And so that seems like a stupid solution.
There we go. Now it's 8 p.m.
Imagine someone that you treat well, that you love. Then try to treat yourself that way. You got to detach from yourself a bit. You got to think, okay, well, I'm a person among other people, and I deserve at least as much respect as a person among other people, and I should be trying to help myself across time. And instead of being self-contemptuous and self-destructive, I need to take care of myself as if I'm potentially valuable, and to lay out my life that way. And so that's what that chapter is about. And it's hard for people. You know, they don't take care of themselves as well as they should. And I don't mean, you know, take care of yourself. I mean, that isn't what I mean. It's like, it's not a moralistic attack. It's like, it's an encouragement to give yourself a bit of the benefit of the doubt. Take care of your room, take care of your things, like have some respect for yourself. It's like there is a lot of potential within you, and there's many things that you can do, and you're necessary more than you think to the unfolding of things. Like if you make a bunch of bad decisions, things get worse, not just for you, like things get worse. And so it matters what you do. And so part of what you do is you want to treat yourself as if what you do matters. And so you want to have some respect for yourself. Young people like to think about ways to change the world, right? And that's actually a positive part of their development. It's a stage that the developmental psychologist Jean Piaget called the messianic stage, and he associated that with late adolescence. While young people want to change the world, the problem is that that's been harnessed into attempts to change other people. But that isn't what you should do. If you want to change the world, you should change yourself.
Facts.
In the sense that Alexander Solzhenitsyn said when he analyzed the Soviet Union, he said, don't be thinking that the line that divides good from evil runs down a political spectrum or countries or something like that. It runs down right down the middle of your soul. And if you want to sort out the world, then what you do is you sort yourself out. It's a serious business. They say it's more difficult to rule yourself than to rule a city, because you're complicated and there are horrible monsters inside of you that need to be tamed and to be brought into alignment and submission so that you can be a powerful and useful person. And instead of rushing out there to change the world by changing other bad people, that they should look inward and sort themselves out properly. And if you have a memory that's more than 18 months old, approximately, and when you pull that memory up to mind, if you still have an emotional reaction, that means you haven't fully articulated the memory. You haven't analyzed it causally. You haven't freed yourself from its grasp, and you're carrying it like a weight. And your brain responds to that. Like the more weight you're carrying like that, more baggage, let's say, the more of the stress hormone cortisol your brain produces. And cortisol makes you old. Divide your life up into 6 epochs. And then divide each of those, that might be, say, birth to kindergarten, and then maybe elementary school, and then maybe junior high school, however you want to do it. And then to write about the emotionally significant events in each of those epochs, and then to describe their effects on you, and then to analyze how you did in those situations, what you might have done differently, what you might do differently in the future, to straighten out your past. If you're thinking about your past, what it means is you haven't analyzed the causal chains. Because you might say, well, why do you remember your past? Well, you might say, well, it's in order to have an objective, record of the past. It's like it has nothing to do with that. There's only one reason you remember the past, and that's to be prepared for the future. That's why you remember the past. And so what you're supposed to do is take the past and extract out from it wisdom. And wisdom is the ability to avoid stumbling blindly into ditches. Here's a time in my past I stumbled blindly into this horrible ditch and terrible things happened to me. You need to take that apart. You need to figure out, how was it that events conspired with your participation, voluntarily or involuntarily, so that that terrible consequence emerged. You need to know why that happened and how you could react differently in that situation. And as soon as you do that, your brain will leave it alone. It won't obsess you about it anymore, because the anxiety-producing parts of your brain are basically trying to tell you where there are obstacles in your environment. Don't go there, there's fire. Maybe you could master the fire, right? Then you're a wielder of fire, you're not just a victim. And lots of situations are dangerous or not dangerous depending on your level of mastery, right? Life is like that. And so a negative emotion that's associated with a memory is something that's crying out for mastery. And writing can really help with that.
Big facts.
You're reorganizing your brain when you write autobiographically.
imagine emotion, memories can be stored at different.
What's he say right there? He said you rewire your brain when you write things out. Write things out. Write everything out. 100%, no matter what it is, every detail of every day going forward. Start with a monthly basis, then to a weekly basis, down to a daily basis, even down to an hourly basis, but that's crazy. But everything needs to be written out so that way you can, see it in front of you, control it. That's a big old fact.
Different levels of your brain, from sort of primordial reptilian image-laden areas that are very emotional, up to finely articulated plans for your future life. Well, you want to take everything that's negative and emotional and transform that into a fully articulated vision for your future. And that frees you of your past. You shouldn't be thinking about your past. I mean, maybe if you're 80 and you're going over a well-spent life, that's a whole different thing. But if you're 30, 35, or 20, and most of the time you're thinking about your past, it's like your soul is trapped back there. You need to free it through investigation. And the metaphysical language is appropriate because that is, in a sense, what you're doing. You're trapped in the past. It's like you got to break free of that so you can use all your resources to move ahead into the future.
That boy be spitting big old facts.
When you write,
that boy be spitting big old facts. It's life, man. You gotta take it seriously. You only got one. The only thing you can guarantee is death. So what you gonna do with it?
Sit on your bed one day and ask yourself, what remarkably stupid things am I doing on a regular basis to absolutely screw up my life? And if you actually ask that question, but you have to want to know the answer, right? Because that's actually what asking the question means. It doesn't mean just mouthing the words. It means you have to decide that you want to know. You'll figure that out so fast it'll make your hair curl. There's no better pathway to self-realization and the ennoblement of being than to posit the highest good that you can conceive of and commit yourself to it. And then you might also ask yourself, and this is definitely worth asking, is do you really have anything better to do? And if you don't, well, why would you do anything else? If you orient yourself properly and then pay attention to what you do every day, that works. And I actually think that that's in accordance with what we have come to understand about human perception, because what happens is that the world shifts itself around your aim. Because you're a creature that has an aim. You have to have an aim in order to do something. You're an aiming creature. You look at a point and you move towards it. It's built right into you. And so you have an aim. Well, let's say your aim is the highest possible aim. Well, then, so that sets up the world around you. It organizes all of your perceptions. It organizes what you see and you don't see. It organizes your emotions and your motivations. So you organize yourself around that aim, and then what happens is the day manifests itself as a set of challenges and problems, and if you solve them properly, then you stay on the pathway towards that aim, and you can concentrate on the day, and so that way you get to have your cake and eat it too, because you can point into the distance, the far distance, and you can live in the day. And it seems to me that makes every moment of the day supercharged with meaning. That's how, because if everything that you're doing every day is related to the highest possible aim that you can conceptualize, well, that's the very definition of the meaning that would sustain you in your life. Well, and then the issue is, well, back to Noah. Well, all hell's about to break loose and chaos is coming. It's like when that's happening in your life, you might want to be doing something that you regard as truly worthwhile. Because that's what will keep you afloat when everything is flooded. And you don't want to wait until the flood comes to start doing that, because if your ark's half built and you don't know how to captain it, the probability is very high that you'll drown. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened.
that sounded pretty optimistic again. But again, I think it's a description of the structure of existential reality, and by which I mean, when I'm in my clinical practice and I observe, and this is also the case with my students, is, let's say, people's lives aren't what they would like them to be. And so then you ask, why? Well, forget about tragedy and catastrophe, because that's self-evident, and we're not going to discuss that. Although the degree to which you bring about your own tragedy is always indeterminate. But I would never say that every terrible thing that is visited on a person is something they deserved. I think that that's a very dangerous presupposition, especially because everyone gets sick and everyone dies. But one of the main reasons that people don't get what they want is because they don't actually figure out what it is. And the probability that you're going to get what would be good for you, let's say, which would even be better than what you want, right? Because, you know, you might be wrong about what you want easily. But maybe you could get what would really be good for you. Well, why don't you? Well, because you don't try. You don't think, okay, here's what I would like if I could have it. And I don't mean in a way that you manipulate the world to force it to deliver you goods for status or something like that. That isn't what I mean. I mean something like, imagine that you were taking care of yourself like you were someone you actually cared for. And then you thought, okay, I'm caring for this person. I would like...
I can't even say it any better. Like, what do you want from life? If you could have anything in life, what would you want? What would you ask for? What would you do? Most of the time, people are so used to the drama and the chaos that they don't even know who they are. So who would you be if you could be anybody? Say you didn't have to work. What would you spend your time doing? You know, would you fish? Would you draw? Would you drive fast cars? And then you got to think, how long would something like that last before it got boring? Most of the time, these things are fun because we have to work so much. You know, that's why the fact we have to die is one of the best parts in life. It's what makes it so precious. If we lived forever and had all the time in the world, then who cares, right? You know, sunshine wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for rain. Right? Joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. Shout out to you if you know where that's from.
Like things to go as well for them as possible. What would their life have to be like in order for that to be the case? Well, people don't do that. They don't sit down and think, all right, you know, let's figure it out. You've got a life. It's hard, obviously. It's like 3 years from now, you can have what you need. You got to be careful about it. You can't have everything. You can have what would be good for you, but you have to figure out what it is, and then you have to aim at it.
So many times I see people throwing away what they need for what they want. And it's such a shame. So many people throw away what they need for what they want. And that's the whole point of chasing your purpose over your desire. You gotta chase your purpose, man, not your desire. That desire shit is for the weak. That desire shit is for the fucking children. You gotta grow up. You gotta chase your purpose. You gotta go out into this world and seek out what it is you're here for. Why are you here? What is your purpose? What are you doing here? If you just here to live life, I'm telling you, like, that's cool. Like, this ain't the channel for you then, because that shit gets old. That shit gets old, bro. I'm telling you. I done did it all, bro. That shit gets old so fast, it's not even funny. You're gonna be tired of that shit so fast, and you're gonna be sitting down depressed, wondering, where the fuck did I go wrong? Why am I so sad? Why am I so depressed? Because you spent your whole life essentially chasing highs. And we all know drugs are bad, and it don't last. You can't live life like that. You gotta find purpose. You gotta find meaning.
Hello.
Yo.
What's going on?
Shit, what's poppin'?
Nothing. Study.
Shit, what are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for. Sorry, I'm trying to pause something real quick in a second.
Fine.
Okay. I'm grateful for my faith again. I'm grateful for my home. Grateful for my self-driven children. Grateful for my brain. And grateful for my mom and papa for letting me shower there today.
Yeah, you grateful for your self-driven children. What's up with that?
Oh, Kinsey made her AR go.
She made an AR. That's what I'm talking about. AR-15?
No, an AR go. She's been reading like she's supposed to. She had a hard time with it last. Well, she didn't have a hard time with it, but she did have a hard time with it, like getting her point. Like they have to meet a certain amount of reading so many books.
Yeah.
And anyway, she made it early. She didn't have to have it till like the end of December, or I don't know when. But anyway, she made it, so she's doing real good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's real good right there. Can't...
Laying on my arm. Yeah, I'm grateful for many things, but those very much so these days.
Those are the top list right now?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's good.
Are you having a good day?
I mean, it's alright. I got into some stocks. I got out of some stocks. I worked.
That's how it works, though. You get in them and you get out of them. You get in them.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Not really.
I didn't hurt nobody. Nobody got on my... Nobody pissed me off. I evaded some people with negative energy, which is, you know, the key to life.
Yeah.
Didn't let them affect me. And then you know what? Their energy levels got better after a little bit of time, and then problem solved itself.
Oh, yeah.
I should just smack the shit out of them. The luckiest in the working world.
Well, it's probably good that you evade them.
Can only evade them so much, man. I gotta put people to work, so... But I don't let their little... People walk so slow. Like, people don't even know, man. These people in the working world don't even know how soft they are. Like, I just, like, you know, I've only been working in the working world for, like, 5 years and took it over. And, like, within, you gotta think, when I came to Florida, right, I had nothing. I left my car back in Tennessee. I left everything in Tennessee. I came here with a suitcase. In the first few years, I was making dough. Not only that, but in the first 3 years, I bought a house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In South Florida real estate. Do you know how insane South Florida real estate is?
I don't, but I do.
Oh my
God,
God,
I know that
bro.
it's like a retirement place for everybody, so I know it's gotta be like.
Oh my God, it's stupid. All my neighbors are retirees. All my neighbors are old elderly people who retired and bought homes, like, or they bought it fucking 30 years ago and it was first built and it was actually affordable. This shit ain't affordable no more. You know, I did all that in 3 years of joining the workforce. These people that work these jobs, that's what I'm saying, because nobody wants to take advantage of what's right in front of them. These people are just so soft. Everybody wants to complain.
To something about that yesterday, which you and I think I had that conversation much anyway about people being soft, and like it's like because women are raised by, which at some point or another there's no excuse, but it's not like men being raised by women are turning men really soft, and women being raised by women are turning women real strong, and like women are becoming. This is what the person said. She's then.
Well, don't say that.
She said that word. But like women are becoming like men, and men are becoming women.
Yeah.
And it's making, you know. So, anyways, I'm sure. Yeah, but I think it's that. I think it's like you tell me, people just don't.
Well, no, it has a big no, they don't. That's the result. I would say the result of what you were just talking about. A father, what I always refer to as a fatherless pandemic. We live in a fatherless pandemic time, and like that's a hundred. All of these things are 100% a cause of that. It's
Yeah,
cause
because
and
if
effect.
men seen men doing that stuff,
Yes.
that they would be more like, oh, if dad worked
If
this job,
kids
well,
got
his
their
job
asses
isn't
beat,
up, you know?
if kids got their asses beat, and I don't even mean that physically, just like if kids were disciplined properly in a mental capacity, if a physical capacity if necessary, but in a mental way where they were disciplined and disciplined in the sense of, you know, accountability. If kids had the accountability that men can give not flawlessly, but effortlessly, because men are just wired to be that way, children would grow into more, you know, efficient adults. But because we're raised by women, women are just such, I know from experience, raised by a woman, women are just such affectionate and unconditional loving beings. They don't give you the discipline that's required to create a human that is efficient, or that is, you know, not even efficient, but a well-rounded individual. You lose out on half of the person you should be, because
You're
half of
supposed
that
to
is
be that.
gone.
Yeah.
Never had it.
Definitely.
You never had it.
Mhm.
When I speak to people and I try to help people, it's a constant battle between me and their ego. It's like, because they're so used to getting their way since a child, because they were raised by a mother. And of course, you're perfect in your mother's eyes.
Yeah.
It's a shame. All I know is that, like I was saying, the working force is soft. So soft, man. Like, people just move so slow. Like, what are you thinking about? Like, this is your livelihood. This is you're hunting right now, bro. If this was 100 years ago, we're in the jungle, you got a spear in your hand and you moving slow, I'll kill you myself. I don't need you on my squad, homie. You know what I mean?
No, for
We
real,
out here
yeah.
trying to bring home the bacon. You ain't bringing home no bacon. You coming home empty-handed. I wouldn't give you a slice of the pie, a slice of the pig. I'll give you the nutsack.
For real.
It's a damn shame.
No.
But I mean, like, literally in years, in short amount of years. I've been here living where I am now for a couple years now. I've been here 7 years total, but the growth within years, it was easy. I mean, it was hard in the sense that I worked like a mug. You know what I mean?
I think too, just because it's like just being a man. Like, just because you chose to be a man, you didn't choose to be a boy. You know, like,
Right? Yeah.
if
You have to.
boys
You have to.
could choose to be a fucking man,
Yeah.
then it'd be insane. One, it wouldn't be as rare as it is. But like, for the men that do choose to be men, like, it's possible, like you did, for 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For anybody, but
To
for
be a
but
fucking
for
beast,
but for
because there's not that many out here. They're just soft as fuck.
for anybody to pick up a responsibility, it's that simple. You know, it's picking up a responsibility at the end of the day. Like, this is the perception. You pick up a responsibility and you take that responsibility as your purpose. And then you do whatever it is that you need to do to make that purpose a reality, right? So that it's that simple. No matter what, there is no other options. There is nothing. That is your sole purpose. And when you choose that purpose, and this is what boys have to do to become men, they have to pick up a responsibility, because otherwise you're just out here living for desires and wants, which is boyish, childish. You know what I mean? But you
Yeah.
pick up a purpose, and then you die by that purpose, and it's legitimately like that. It's that simple. And then and that's it. There is no and when you look at life that, like, in that light, when you think about people who grow up and why they grow up so fast when they have kids, that's why. They have kids and then now they have a purpose, or they decide to not. You know what I'm saying? Men are different. They have to choose a child. Women, it's just embedded in them. I mean, you carry the life inside of you, and then bring that life to life. Like, your purpose is written out in you know, the stars. Your kid, that's your purpose. But for men, it's different. We have to, you gotta look that baby in the eye and be like, I choose you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm like the Twilight movie. I'm imprinting on you.
What? I've never
You've
seen
never
it.
seen that?
No.
Well, the wolf, like, imprints on the kid, but whatever. Yeah.
That
Yeah, no, I
sounds.
was thinking about that too, like AJ. So, like, I know sometimes, like, for me, I get like here lately, I've been riding his ass a little bit harder.
Yeah,
Like,
but I don't
and
want you to cross the boundary into being masculine.
no, but I don't even think it's that. I think it's when I'm actually being a good mom. Really and truly. I think it's me being a better mom than when things are going. And it's not that things are I know I might walk over, like I'm like,
Push
hey,
over.
whatever, you know. But what I'm saying is like yesterday I was kind of riding his ass, like, okay, we're done with the games. Like, you need to be reading because like Kenzie's like in her AR going out, and he got on though. But you obviously have to keep up with that. But he's been playing that game, especially after the break. So I was like,
What game?
telling him like, we're done with this. Like, it's not okay. But then I think to myself, I know it's because I'm dealing with a lot of things, you know, with everything going on around the house and stuff that causes me to buckle down. I'm not lax, you know, where it's like, okay, we're just smooth sailing. No, it's like, all right, we got to buckle down. And now, like, not just me, all y'all got to buckle down with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no,
it's
I know
not
what
bad.
you
I
mean.
need to be more
But
like that.
that's why, yes, 100%. That mentality should be the mentality no matter what. I don't think you should always be buckled down. Like that's my mentality, you know, and that's why it's good to have a balance, a yin and yang, you know, because I'm too much like that, and I need the opposite of that. And that's, you know, men and women or masculine and feminine come together and build that. You got to try to balance it yourself because you don't, you know, you got only you and your children. But yeah, but it should, in my mind, you know, I never have a moment where it's like I'm chilling. I'm always on go mode. I'm always searching for more, right? Because if you're just sitting on the sailboat and nobody's looking over the bow of the boat and aiming the motherfucker, where you gonna end up? Where you gonna end up? You can't just sit in the back seat and just hope you don't hit nothing.
Yeah.
Hope you don't, you know, hope you don't hit a glacier.
Yeah.
An iceberg. Somebody got to be out there, even when everything is good, has to be out there looking for where the next problem's going to come from and solving that problem before it ever even comes.
Yeah.
Before it becomes a real problem. If you're sitting back, you're not actively looking, you already lost.
Yeah, for real. Kind of like me now. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Like I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, you were sitting in a kickback mode, and then when that glacier hits, it's like, oh shit. But you gotta. That's what I'm saying. Like you should always be buckled down. Like moments of relaxation are just that, moments.
Yeah.
Moments that are planned. Like I done lived the free wild life, bro, where I just did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I would much rather live the life that I live now, which is of purpose, and you know what I mean, over desire. And I would much rather plan out my leisure time than just live a life of leisure all day, every day. It's depressing. It makes me want to kill myself because it's just not enough. It's like a drug. It's not enough.
Yeah.
What makes leisure so good is when you work like a fucking dog and then have leisure. When you're just leisuring around all damn day long, how good is the leisure? It is no good. It's like it's trash.
Yeah.
It's like I need the next best thing. That's when you move from the pills to the H, you know what I mean? It's never enough. You can't live a life of desire. You have to live a life of purpose. If you're not armed, if you're not ready and chasing purpose and you're just chasing desire, you're gonna fail. You're not gonna fail in the sense you're gonna fail in an emotional capacity. You're gonna dwindle. It's gonna burn out.
Or when shit does hit you too. Now
yeah, it's gonna come. Yeah, and then you're gonna be blindsided.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But that's why it's good to have a balance of masculinity and femininity, because you know a masculine person is more like that, is more looking for the fight essentially, as to where a feminine is more like loving the moment in a sense. And we can learn from one another and find a balance. But a masculine man is in a way looking for the fight. But when it's a man and not a boy, we're looking for the good fight, not the bad fight. We're looking for the good fight to fight. You know what I mean? The fight to protect our family, to push our family forward, not the fight that's going to bring us back. And as a boy, if you don't have, when you don't have a purpose, that's what ends up happening. And that's that toxic masculinity people talk about. You know what I mean? Where boys are fighting, you know, themselves, really.
Yeah, literally. Really is. No, yeah. I don't know. Even with like AJ, I feel like that's where my head starts to get, when I like notice it, like what am I wanting to raise? You know, which I've had that conversation before with people, like, you know, like, do I raise Kinsey to be hard like I am? Do I raise Kinsey to be soft? Which I say I want to raise Kinsey to be more soft. I don't want her to be raised like how mom was with us or how I am. Like, where we're these strong, like I want her to be strong, but not in the sense like just the manly sense, you know.
Masculine,
so it's like
yeah.
I want to be more like, I don't know how, but then I look at AJ and I know it's me, so it's like, but I have to be hard, or you know, I don't know, just because I don't want to raise him. Like when I look at AJ, I don't want to raise him to be a boy. Like I don't want you to be a fucking boy. I don't want you to grow up and be soft. Like I know a lot of these boys are gonna grow up to be like, I want you to grow up and be a fucking man, not a fucking boy running around here. I just don't. I don't know.
I feel you. I mean, you know, boys are gonna be boys until they become men. You can't force a boy to become a man. I mean, you can, but you know, you gotta let you gotta let them grow up. The most important things are to teach characteristics. You know, is try to instill characteristics like honesty. You know.
Yeah.
If you can teach him, you teach him to be honest no matter what the results are of being honest. You teach him to be hardworking no matter what the results of hardworking, you know, brings or doesn't bring. Teach him to identify emotions so that way he knows what it is he's feeling, when he's feeling it, and why he's feeling it. Like these are the types of things that set people up for success, that no matter what, they'll find their way. If they can't do these simple things, finding their way become a lot more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't necessarily make him a man, but you can set him up to where he can become a man.
Right. Right. Yeah. Real.
Self-discipline. If he's out here playing the game, you like, when you said you had to buckle down, how did you approach him? You know, before you even answer that, let me just tell you how I would approach the situation. I would come to him and say, hey, is there things that you need to be doing? Do you have responsibilities that are supposed to be taken care of? And if the answer is yes, then it's, well, when do you think you're going to do those things?
Mm-hmm. That's basically it. Just maybe like I just do it more stern because I talk.
Well, you gotta have a real conversation with him. You know, you gotta make him think
like
of the answer.
AR's backing up. Like, where are we at with AR? Do you think you need to be on this game right now, or do you think you should be reading a book to make sure that you don't fall behind? Like,
don't lead him on. Don't lead him on. Just ask him straight up. So, you know, like how is school? What's AR? I don't know what that is, but how's school? You know, oh, it's good. It's really good. Okay, so how's AR? You know what I mean? Because it starts with honesty. How's AR? See what I'm saying? You have a conversation with him, and then when he gets on to talking about AR and he starts lying about it like it's good, and that's when you stop him right there and be like, I'm telling you right now, don't you ever lie.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then you move. It's a practice, and then you move on. Then you're like, okay, so now we've established that your AR is lacking. So when are we gonna handle that? That's it.
Right.
Don't lead them on, don't give them options. When are we gonna handle that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then then his response is gonna be something, you know, whatever. And then, you know, at some point you have to put your foot down and say, this is what we're doing, but you gotta give him the opportunity to learn himself and for you to learn him and see who he is and how he responds to situations.
Yeah.
If you just lead him on, if you just tell him what to do, you're not seeing the real him.
Right.
He's gonna.
But, you know, I be trying to figure him out something.
It ain't hard. It's just conversation.
Where we're at quite yet. sometimes he's like, you know, and then but I do think he's getting older, and he's getting a
Yeah,
little
well,
bit more.
if he's
Really
if
trying
he's
to come into a personality.
if he's different in different situations, that's a conversation in itself. You know what? I recognize that you're acting differently. How do you feel?
Yeah.
What emotions are you having right now? Because you're acting, your vibes are a little bit off, and I'm trying to figure out. So what do you how do you feel? What's going on in your mind? You know what I mean? And people, this is why one of the pillars or one of the important things to talk about is identifying your emotions, because people don't know. His response, when I ask people that is, well, it's you. It's like, nah, I ain't even did nothing yet. You think I'm the problem? Give me about 5 more minutes, I'm gonna become a big problem.
No, for real.
No, people don't know. They just think that, what I'm saying, they react poorly because they got things going on, but they don't know how to identify their own emotions. Because who taught you how to identify your emotions? Has your mother ever sat you down and was like, this is what happy feels like. This is what resentment feels like. This is what abandonment feels like. You know what I mean? No, we don't know. How do you handle those emotions? We don't know. Who taught you? Nobody taught me. School didn't teach me that. My mother didn't teach me that. My father was in prison. Who taught me? Nobody taught me. Not until I got into rehab. And then when I got into rehab, and then they start to teach you these types of things about emotions, and it's just amazing that I have to fall and get to the worst places in my life before people teach me the things that should be taught before everything falls apart, like recognizing your emotions.
Yeah. Back to what you said before, most simple as shit.
Yeah, it typically is, for sure.
Not that it's like simple, but yeah, like
it could be in a perfect world.
Yeah, right. Like the shit, like you said, that should have been taught way at the beginning, and then opposed to the way everyone else, or how everyone, even including me, how we all figure it out. But
yeah, we figure it out the hard way, and hopefully we figure it out.
Yeah, make out of
and if we do, it's the hard way. It could be very simple, but most of the time it's not.
Yeah. No. But today was a good day.
That's good. Why you say that?
I think a lot of it just was on my faith. I was very much in faith today, and with everything going on, I just, with like the buckling down on AJ.
You gotta give yourself credit too, though. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I think just dealing with things like the writing down and just like.
Correct. Yes.
Dealing with things just in the way that they should be.
Focusing on the work.
Yeah, and like doing what I can when I can do it, and when I can't, then I can only do what I need.
Then you let go and you let God and you have faith.
Right. Yeah,
but other than those moments, you focus on what you can do, and then you do them, and that's it. And then that is how you find peace. That is one way to find peace. Not only peace, but dopamine in a chemical brain. When you chase a goal, when you're actively focused on the work, not the result, but you're focused on the work and doing the most you can do. That is it. What else is there? What else is there? Nothing else exists. All the rest of it's a fucking fairy tale. It hasn't come into fruition yet. It hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? What is sitting up at 1 a.m. stressing about life gonna do for you? Nothing. Mm-hmm. The only time you do that is when you haven't done the work. You know what I mean? Yeah. You go put in 12 hours into your goal, 12 hours in a day into your goal, and then tell me that you're gonna sit up in the middle of the night, not able to sleep, thinking about life. Don't get me wrong, shit does happen. But then I would ask you, what was your diet like? Did you eat a lot of sugar? Are you lacking in sugar? Did you eat too much sugar? When's the last time you had caffeine? Are you exercising properly? There's so many other things that keep you up at night. And then, of course, when you're up at night,
how's your safety and security? How's your level of belongingness?
But my point is, what from my perspective, like, what you did was you did the work, and then you felt peace from it, and that's the point.
Yeah, no, definitely. And some dopamine today too, because I was laughing. I got some good laughs there. I really did. I was like, Lord mercy. I was like, dude, we're pulling people do. Not really, though, you know, but because it just feels good to know that I am.
Oh, I've been there. You know how many times I've been there?
blessed.
I'm there all the damn time. Like I said, bro, I'm always stretching myself so fucking thin. It's unbelievable. I'm always laughing and crying at the same time about how crazy hard I be going. And it's just like on the brink of, self-destruction. I don't even know. And then it's like, but but what do? You work.
Yeah.
That's
Literally.
it. That's it. And then once you put in the work, that's it. Then you let it go until the next moment arrives when it's time to put the work in again.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you maintain peace in that. Because nobody, unless you bury your head into the sand, which I don't recommend, everybody is in that same place. Everybody's trying to figure out life, and everybody wants to be somewhere else and try for something more. And these same things we talk about. This is a normal way of being for people, unless you bury your head in the sand, which, good for you for now. I'll see you in a year or two when it doesn't work out. when you where I was a few years ago, when you where many people end up, depressed, fucked in the head, wondering where the hell you went wrong, wondering what's wrong with you, and all the drugs come into your life and alcohol starts to become an answer. Yeah, I'll see you. I pray to God it don't happen, but that's the likelihood of where you end up when you bury your head in the sand. You got to stand up, you got to find purpose, and you got to work towards that purpose. That's it.
Right.
The problem is when you're raised by women, you believe that things should be handed to you. Not by women, but by feminine mentality. Basically women, but it's really just the femininity. When you're raised by only a feminine perspective in life, if that's all you learn from, you're not used to consequences. Typically, of course, there's always exceptions. You're not used to consequences, and therefore you feel entitled to get things when you want them. And as you get older, you realize that ain't how life works. At all. And you know what I'm saying? And that is depressing in itself. I mean, imagine you're just giving money every day, and then one day it just stops. You'd be depressed. I'd be like, I gotta work. What?
For real.
I thought I was just gonna keep riding the gravy train. Shit.
No, it really is insane. It's really insane just how simple it is, but how complicated we make it, and how defensive people are, and how all these other things are, just all of it in general. It's real crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you can really simplify life at the end of the day. We are complicated beings in the sense that we love to complicate things, but life is not really that complicated.
No.
There is a route to success if you truly want it, and that's another thing, is that people don't truly want success. They truly would rather have the chaos. They're addicted
they really
to
don't
it.
want to change. They really don't, because
They're
the
addicted
moment
to
that
it.
you hit that, it's like insane of where you can go, or what, just it really is. I feel like that's how I was for so long. I'm sure like a lot of people just so used to things, and so until I guess till you really hit a rock bottom. I hit my rock bottom till when I went through what I went through a year and a half ago. I think that's when I truly was like, I don't know, something snapped in my head, and it was just like, no, like this ain't life no more. This is not okay. Like, you need to fix some shit up in there. And I wanted it, and it's been a long process, a slow process, but it's been a good process, and a lot of peace that I've not felt in so long. I've definitely felt a lot more peace in my life than I have since before anything,
Yeah, well, that's really good.
Yeah. So I'm not mad at all, but I'm just dealing with all that stuff, and I called those people today. They just said, I told them, if I don't hear back from you today, I'll call you tomorrow, let me know your process, because the boss is in that quote-unquote meeting. Like, okay. So, we'll see. But, yeah, no. I got this test coming up Monday again. I got an interview tomorrow for this nursing tech job. We're gonna see how that goes.
So you got like, and that's just gonna be during your I mean, you're gonna work that and go to school, or is this during your break?
So I'm thinking about doing it. Definitely gonna do it during the break. Depending on what their pay is first. I need to figure out what the pay is for that one, but I'm definitely gonna do it during the break. And then if there's a way, because I don't want to like go Frito-Lay, because Frito-Lay's gonna pay me the best money. So I'm gonna stick with them, you know, and then just kind of, I'm just gonna see what they have to offer, I guess. And then if they will work with me, like where I can work my 2 days at Frito-Lay, and then maybe do like a night shift for the nursing thing once a week, you know, while I'm in school, then I'll probably do that too. I just gotta really, I don't know. It's very hard to explain to anybody what nursing school is unless you go through nursing. So like, it's hard to be like, this is tough, because it's like, okay, life is tough, everything's tough, and I understand it, you know. But I also understand
Don't
that
stop
that doesn't
bitching
matter.
now.
No, I'm not bitching. It's cool. I'm not mad at it, but I do need to get into the second semester. So my understanding, second semester is the hardest. Like once you get past second, like you're at breeze, because you do like med surg next semester, psychology, pharmacology. I've got 3, whereas to this semester I only had 1. The bitch was struggling. I was like, oh god. But it's okay. You know, you just gotta, I have to be very organized for it. But whatever. Point is I just need to get past this next semester, but I need to figure out how to make my work with my school. And like nursing tech will be good because they'll play in a part with the school and stuff like that. Yeah. But anyways, yeah,
What up,
I just have to
Fayas?
see how it will work. I'm just trying to be smart, and I just gotta write down. Like I said, I
Talking
need
about
to
life.
write
How's
down
life?
like start scheduling some plans. Like I'm just trying to get to Monday. Once Monday hits, and not schedule around just studying right now, then I can kind of get to.
But you said it. I mean, you gotta schedule it out properly. You need a proper schedule. You know, especially when you go to talk to these people about this job, they need to know exactly what's popping with your job. Like what is your exact hours that you're looking for them to accommodate. You know what I mean? Like you gotta come in prepped with all that kind of information.
Yeah, which I'll probably hit them with like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No, not Sunday. Sunday's a rest
See,
day.
you already guessing.
Keeping that. What?
I said, see, you already guessing. That's why I gotta write it out.
Yeah, no, I will. But probably Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then if Frito-Lay will work me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's so you're gonna try to do it. I mean you're gonna stick with the Frito-Lay once you get out, so you can work these hours and pay these bills, so they don't take your ass to court.
Yeah, I need to figure out what they're gonna do for real. I spoke with Anthony's son. He said he's gonna try.
What's popping, bro?
He said he was going to give me.
How's life? He's gonna give you some money.
Yes, then he's gonna.
Did he write it out? Write that shit out and get it signed.
I don't think I'm sending you a letter, okay? Okay. This is considered you paying child support, Loki. But I don't even like those words. But it is. It says, you know, child support is children that he didn't help.
Yeah, what you mean you don't like those words?
I just hate those things. Because it's like, just like take care of your kids like I take care of the kids, you know what I mean? It's like not child support, just 2 people make kids, 2 people.
What's most interesting to you? Which part?
Take care of kids, not one person's job. So we'll see. Hopefully that goes. Hopefully he can figure out something consistent and do it consistently.
Life is pretty. It's complex, but it's simple. It can be simple.
We'll see how that goes.
But we love to overcomplicate it, which is a conversation we were just having.
I know I still have to do what I have to do. So that's all I'm worried about. Really, is just making sure I get my butt up and get working.
I mean, it boils down to, you know, to simplify it all, it boils down to focusing on the work. Right? Not the results. We got to keep an eye on the results. You know, we're not saying ignore it totally, but
Yeah,
focus,
I would do.
focusing on the work is how you keep your peace, and you write it all out so that way you can see it in front of you and have an understanding of what needs to be done.
Right.
So, I mean, all this stuff that you're saying you're gonna do with this job and these people, it should all be written out.
Right.
Have you been working on identifying your emotions
Oh yeah,
and
something
noticing
else I wrote
triggers?
down today. Let me write this other thing down.
Oh, these are all fire points. You gotta let me finish this call. What are your the trigger part, or just identifying?
Like, I feel like we had this conversation such a long time ago, but anyways, like some, at purpose, I guess, but some no, it wasn't purpose. Really, it's like fire, like to light fire under somebody's ass, like to lose weight or something or whatever. So, anyways, I was thinking about this with school. Like, granted, I'm very happy with school and like love learning, but I was like, I need to figure out one thing during this break, something to make me miss school, like something to light a fire under my ass to make me like.
You're just doing this in your free time? Because that's really good.
But it will be nice.
That's how I
just
learn.
Try and find something to make me miss it.
To light a fire under to miss school, like so that way you can want to go back to school. You're saying?
Yeah, well, I want to go back. Like I want it. I just want to see if I can find something to give me that extra oomph. It's really not funny because my mind is going to crazy places, but without saying all the crazy things. But like, like when I wasn't going to school prior to that, like my life was a shit show.
Yeah, sorry, let me finish this because you got a good conversation we got to talk about.
So it was like when I got to school, like I had so much fire, which I still have that fire. It's just like, I was like, just a thought like in my head, like I should try and find something to see if there's a little more fire I could find somewhere, a little more oomph I can find somewhere, Does that make sense?
And at the end goal being to go to school.
To stay to just have
to
that
stay motivated to go to school.
Yeah, just to continue to go, right? But just have that extra like, damn, like, okay, come on. Even though I'd be happy now. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. It's just something I wrote down.
To find more purpose, more. Yeah, you kind of messed me up with that one. Find more purpose as to why you to motivate you to come back to school.
When you first start to do something, whatever it may be, lose weight, you just start just so like, woo, I'm gonna do this. Hell yeah!
Yeah,
and
right.
Then you're kind of like, okay, but I'm gonna keep doing it because it's doing good. But damn, I could use a little bit more of that oomph I had when I started. Like just a little bit of it, that. Like, I don't know. And who knows? Maybe the 6 days work will bring that oomph back. It's gonna be like, bitch, finish off school so you ain't gotta work 2 damn jobs.
Do you feel like it's dwindling, or are you trying to say you want to avoid it dwindling?
I don't feel it dwindling. I just feel like, I don't know. There was just this like want so hard because I was going through such hard times, and this is
so it was more, so it is dwindling. You feel like you're more in the clear now.
Yeah, no, not even in the clear, like a little bit drained too. Like we were talking about it in school today, a couple of us feeling like burnt out almost, like you're starting to get burnt, like your fucking brain's so wrapped around nursing and everything nursing, you start to get like burnt out.
Yeah, well, you're about to have a month break. That's why they do that.
Fucking take your book and shove it. I'm about to burn this bitch. I'm just kidding.
You're about to go on a 1 month break though. That's why they do that. So that way you can have some time to reassess and you can have that one. Yeah, you can go back to it. I mean, rest is important. I mean, you're still going to be working, but your brain can rest from the school part of it. Yeah. You should take that month break. You should take that month break and give your brain a break, literally. I mean, I do that when I jump between studies because, I study multiple different things, including emotions and everything that I study, I when in between I take a break, like a mental break where I'll just chill and watch some type of TV show, comedy, and relax for it's usually a short period of time. It's not a month, but I do take those breaks. They're giving you a month, so take advantage of it. I mean, if you find yourself ready to work before then, by all means study a little bit more in the between time, but you should definitely take advantage of that break. I mean, that's the problem. You're at the end of the semester. You've been taking these finals, so yeah, you're bound to feel that way. But take the break that they're giving you, mentally.
Yeah.
Physically work, yeah, but mentally take that break. Try to, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, I just wrote down enjoy repetitiveness. This break. Like, just the fact of not using the brain, just the majority of what I do at Burrito is like just complete so just kind of enjoy that. And obviously I'm going to throw some studying in there, but I'm just trying to hit pharmacology, and that's just like memorization. So I'm trying, and that's again just repetitive. But yeah, no, I need to just kind of not use this thing, but use this thing to just slow it down some.
First, you help yourself, then you help your family, then you help your community.
But that is why they're giving us the break. It's a burnout feeling, is all. It's like, okay, guys, my God. Yeah, it's a lot. This book I have or whatever that we went through, my nursing fundamentals, it has.
Are you experiencing
18
sort of
1,800 pages
abnormal emotions?
This whole book within like 15 weeks.
Or are you just interested?
Studied and test. It's insane. My brain's just got work from it.
Like, are you experiencing emotions that seem like they need further investigation?
We'll see. Hold on. What'd you say, Jim?
No, nothing.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think it's just that's why they're doing it. It's just giving us that break just to give me a second to breathe is all. I still want it. I want it real bad. I want it very bad. There's no doubt in my mind that this is what I want, and that at some point this is what I will do, is be a nurse. It's just I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But,
Well, write down your gratitude. Don't just tell it to me. Write down your gratitude list. You should write it down every day. In the morning. Yeah. Even though you already told it to me, write it down still.
Yeah, I did it this morning too.
You wrote it down?
No, I just say it.
Oh yeah, well that's what I'm saying. Write it down. Are you journaling your emotions? Are you writing it out? What you feeling throughout the day still?
I haven't, kind of, but more so just writing my thing too.
Well, I mean that's similar. That works.
Write down gratitude.
That works, but if you notice fluctuations, this goes for you too, Fias. If you notice fluctuations in your emotions that are irregular, note it and identify it. Define it for what it feels like. Try to be descriptive.
Okay.
It's which also brings up the point of you should be watching your diet and whatnot, but yeah, so whatever. I reckon I'll let you go.
All right, I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
I try to call at least one person a date and talk about life and growth. Figured I'd start live streaming and get people talking about these types of things. I'm exploring. I have no panic for the time being. Very good. I'm just interested to discuss different experiences with someone else that has thought about stuff like this. Not the hippie type talking about energies and thinking stones will make your life happy and so on. I like the science aspect. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I do try to write down my emotions and thoughts from time to time. It's very interesting to see what it is. The emotions and thoughts, very fleeting, hard to catch just in a thought. Yeah, it's a practice once you start to recognize that an emotion is striking, to that recognition turning into the action of writing it down has to become repetition. Otherwise, by the time you remember you should be writing it down, you lose focus on the emotion. You lose that insight, and you can't really pinpoint the triggers as much. But I mean, just the act of trying, in time it becomes a much better practice. You get good at it. Sometimes at like this point I don't have to write it down a lot of the times, because I've started to learn to identify them so much now that I can mellow myself out, except for energy. I for some reason can never drop my energy. But I think that has to do with dopamine, and the dopamine spiking adrenaline and whatnot. Well, dopamine, I guess. Adrenaline. Like I constantly have a flowing of adrenaline going on, and I think it's due to high level dopamine caused by chasing goals. I'm constantly chasing a goal. And if you look into dopamine is primarily, your brain produces dopamine primarily when you're chasing goals. So because I'm always in a constant state of chasing goals, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But I could use some serotonin. I could use some everything's all right. That'll even me out a little more. Right now I'm too high strung sometimes, but it's not a bad thing. I mean, it's, coming from nothing, it's gotten me places, thank God. So I can't be mad at that. But do try to, what were we saying? I have no panic for the time, just interested in different experiences with someone else that has thought about this type of stuff. I'm very restless myself, hard to find something purposeful to dump the energy into. Well, you figured that one out then. Yeah, I mean, that really is when I talk a lot about it, it's about finding that purpose. And once you find that purpose, things can fall into place. But finding the purpose, that's the catalyst. How do you find that purpose? You know what I mean? How do you find it? How do you choose it? That's kind of the thing, because it kind of, sometimes it's a choice, sometimes it falls into your lap. But for me, and I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, I've chosen the future. Well, I've chosen a couple of different things. One is a higher purpose, right? So which is to help people, which is what I'm doing, or what I try to help people. So that's one of my purposes. My future family, I don't have children yet, but I plan on it. So I'm trying to live for them now, even though I don't have any. I think that's it. Those are the two. So a higher purpose, something bigger than myself, and family, community. It doesn't have to be children, but community, friends, people, just try to help people. Those are two purposes that I chose, or chose me, however you want to look at it. And those really drive, you put that at the forefront of your mind as why you do what you do. And damn. And then everything else kind of, you could start a new process. But finding purpose, I feel like you have a purpose going on right now. I mean, you're seeking self. You're seeking inner self and seeking knowledge, which is extremely important, because you can't love another until you love yourself, not truly. And you can't love yourself if you don't know yourself. So, I mean, knowing yourself and understanding your emotions is monumental. And that in itself is a goal. And that might be why you're restless. I mean, are you restless? You might be energized. You might be energized trying to figure these things out. Got you wired up and you don't even know it. Yeah. I mean, that's the so I mean, yeah, definitely. There's definitely one possibility. More than one. So with that, I mean, definitely write it out and track your work. It might help you be a little more at rest or at peace when you know you're putting in work it helps, you know, when it's time to relax, it helps to know, like, I did these things today, you know, and have it written out, kind of, or how much time you spent doing certain, like, this counts. I mean, you sitting here talking about life. You could be playing a video game. Might be playing a video game at the same time. I don't know, but you could be doing anything. But here you are putting in work, you know. This cat. Sit down. Yeah. But that is definitely a purpose. And the world, and we are the world, man. We are. I want to say my cat loves to be in front of the world, in front of the world. So, yeah, I know. Now he's just flipping all over the place. He's flipping all over the place. Would you say you're a happy person or a peaceful person? Maybe more on the sadder side, depressed side, curious side. In generally speaking, I mean, it's kind of a hard question to answer. I know, trust me. Personally, I guess I would say I'm closer to finding peace than previous years of my life, which is definitely a bonus. Happiness is a fleeting emotion. I don't try to chase happiness. I try to chase peace. And peace I can hold on to these days a lot longer than I used to be able to, thank God. But it's in purpose and in fighting for those purpose that helps with that peace. I got all aspects, of course, but I'm not joking type. Very understanding. I got all aspects, but I'm not the joking type. I'm very understanding and accepting. I'm not very calm for myself. I'm very energetic and need much stimulation. I don't know aspects, but I'm not the joking type. I'm very understanding and accepting. I'm not very calm. I'm not very calm for myself. I'm very energetic and need much stimulation. Yeah. Yeah, I feel you on that one. I'm definitely the same way. Well, that's really good. I mean, we got a lot common. We got a lot in common. I feel like I'm talking to myself over here. So right now you're studying emotions. Studying, is one. I'm pretty sure that's how you would call it. You're studying emotions right now, and is that what would be one of your favorite topics? Is it the emotions and the science aspect of it all? Bam Bam, what are you doing? Bam Bam, come on, it's not a toy. Started with me realizing how to store memories in my mind. I realized that my mind correlates stuff to each other by memory. So I found a back door into my emotions in a way. Yeah, isn't that crazy? So you found a way to activate emotions by using memory, specific emotions? All my reflexes, all my triggers, all my fears, all my... Yeah. Yeah. And then what I was something I was looking into too when it comes to these real mental things and the way we differ mentally are these personality disorders they have out there, and like the way that I fixate on things, I was really starting to look into OCPD, over compulsive personality disorder, not OCD. You know, thank God. You know, I feel sorry for people who really suffer, but OCPD in a sense where I have a little bit more control over what I fixate on, essentially. And you know, there's so many different kind of personality differences in people that really make us different. You know, not, you know, not to say it in a crutch type of way where it's like, oh, I got OCPD so I can't control it, it's not my fault, but just in a way of like they have, right, yeah, 100%. I mean, the neural elasticity, like you know, our synapses, our brains have the ability to literally rewire itself. That's why I don't, you know, that's why I say not in a crutch. There you go, you got it. Neuroplasticity. Our brain, you know, we literally have the ability to rewire our brains. I mean, if you compare my brain today to what it was several years ago, man, there was some neuroplasticity going on, let me tell you. But yeah, no, I don't like them either, trust me, but it does help in a sense that you can figure out, you know, kind of side effects. Like I can look at OCPD and I could say like that there is some compulsive tendencies in there. And this goddamn cat here. Whatever. I don't really like the labels that much either. Can live with half a brain and function more or less normally. Wow, I didn't know that one. Is it a specific half? More or less normally. Or is it just random pieces, half that you can, just random pieces throughout that you can go without? Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild stuff. But yeah, because I mean, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I mean, do you go and you do all this stuff on the side too, which is really good. That's the type of person I am. Like all the studying about brains and stuff like that. I did. Do you listen to Andrew Huberman? You gotta check him out. I'm losing people to talk to. I'm sending them to him, but I gotta give credit where credit due. Man's beast. He's a professor at Stanford, and he talks about this kind of stuff. Well, he doesn't talk to you like I am, but he makes videos about it. Yeah, he's good. He's good, very good. I can't say that I've specifically called it mantras, but yeah, I definitely believe in repeating certain stuff. You know, affirmations. Who knows? But I definitely believe in affirmations in a sense where you can. Well, it's like the law of attraction. You know, if you look in if you if you look at law of attraction, you know, The Secret, the book The Secret, I believe it was called. And not even them. If you look at Dr. Joe Dispenza, if you look him up when it comes to that kind of stuff, where he talks a lot about scientifically, you know, the law of attraction. You know, some of these science, you know, he's a doctor, and you know, but basically, yeah, speaking things into existence, essentially manifestation. You know, and you know, words. You know, they have them studies where they talk about the words and how they affect plants and like living things, and like if you speak certain words into the plant like literally starts to die, or it can, you know, thrive. I mean, your self dialogue is extremely important, and it's something to be. And that's why I say writing stuff down, because it really helps with your self dialogue. We're so quick to forget. You know what I mean? Like we'll sit here and badmouth ourselves in our minds so much and forget all about it 10 minutes later. But 10 minutes later, we feel like crap. And focus agenda is you take the positive road to wherever you focus, everything you say will stick in your subconscious. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in the subconscious, 1,000%. Like it's back there. It knows. You know, your the back of your mind knows your subconscious is always watching, always learning, and always watching. And that's why you got to be careful what you listen to and what you watch on TV. People don't realize that. You know, they sit around watching reality TV shows and drama shows and there's bullcrap on TV, thinking it's just like, oh, it's nothing, but it is something. You know, that stuff's back there. It's in your subconscious. Yeah, yeah. They say until the subconscious becomes conscious, it will control you and you will call it fate. Until the subconscious becomes conscious, it will control you and you'll call it fate. That was like the most factual shit I ever heard in my life. I was like, damn. Like for real, because you think it's like, oh well, you know, that's just the way I am. It's like, no, it's not just the way you are. It's just what's, you know what I'm saying, the stuff you've been letting influence you for so long that it comes out in your conscious mind, but it's you. It's your subconscious. You gotta, for the first years of my growth, yeah, 100%. For the first years of my growth, I brainwashed myself, you know, and I would listen to nothing but motivational stuff. Like fall asleep to it, wake up to it. Like every waking minute I could possibly, just nothing but motivation. Because it's hard to find people you can communicate with and bounce ideas off. So, you know, one way of helping accelerate that is just listening to those positive affirmations, you know, motivation. But you got to put the work in too. But it feeds your subconscious healthier food, essentially. You know, that's why I definitely push people towards motivational stuff, is because if it ain't even what they're telling you, it's because it feeds your subconscious a healthier food, you know, for lack of a better term. It's better than listening to garbage. It's better than listening to garbage. You know how to memorize anything at any time? Um, I don't wouldn't say I have a trick to it. Why? Is there a trick to it? Anything at any time? Say it, repeat it. Yeah. Wait, was that the answer, or are you just saying this? Is it to repeat it? Is repeating it the answer, or what's the answer? All right. Meanwhile, we get a cameo. Say what else? No. Did I mess up my? Did I mess up my angles now? Uh oh. OCD's gonna kill me. Um, it is to related to something that's right. For example, 911, you could relate it to, you know what? If you think about that event when you read 911 in a series, you remember it 100 times easier. Yeah, I feel like I vaguely remember reading something about that. You can relate to anything that shows up in your mind, anything, but it must be something that is in your mind already. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for sure. Yeah, it's 100% something that makes sense, you know? Then you just gotta figure out what it is you want to memorize. What's the important stuff? Our mind gets so full of junk sometimes. No, no shit. You know, that's got to be like really good for your IQ and your brain, you know, just like a skill for, yeah, I don't know the right word, just a skill for getting your brain like, I've been smoking weed for 20 years. That's what's helping you. It's got to be just such a good brain exercise, essentially, to do that and you know, memorize that kind of stuff. It's like reading. Reading helps your brain. Just the activity of reading, like it's such a good brain exercise. I got shocked. I thought I had bad short-term memory. Yeah, I feel like that's such a. I mean, I'm sure it's a true thing, but I feel like a lot of people don't suffer as much as they tell you you're gonna suffer. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I bet. About how your mind stores stuff. Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be really good too, especially because I mean, you think about all the amount of stuff we forget, like important stuff that we forget. I mean, that's like Elon with his neural chip that they want to put in. I mean, could you imagine if you remembered everything that you ever learned? I feel like we learned so much. The problem is we forget it all, you know? So, I mean, to like work on memory specifically as a skill set, that's a good trait. That's a good trait to have. That should, yeah, it's really good. If you see something you don't understand and you don't think about it or relate it to anything, you won't remember it at all. Wow. So like so like just generally speaking, if something comes up, I'm sure unless I know my mind do it now, my mind do it automatically. I can store 10 to 15 digits automatically without effort nowadays. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I'm saying, that's such a good brain exercise. Like, even if you just did that once a day, picked out 15 digits and memorized it every day, like that's such a good brain exercise. Yeah, 4 or 6 would be more my speed right about now. But you pick it out and then you practice it like reading. That's why reading is like I said, it's a good brain exercise. Not 190. I got 4, including the decimal. Yeah, that's wild stuff. What do your friends typically come to you and ask you about? Like what are their typical questions that they ask you about? Find like is it like life shit, like relationships, moral or technology? Too fascinating. Two fascinating topics. Two very fascinating topics. I mean, morality, I remember last time I talked about morality as being such a what's the right way? What's the word for it? Being such a vague, not vague, but easily influenced thing. Somebody coming from a third world country where people die every day versus somebody coming from middle of America, you know, where everything's peachy and beautiful, two completely different standards of, morals. Or moral in the sense of like what the government tells you is morally virtuous, what you believe is morally virtuous, or what religion tells you is morally virtuous. I mean, think about the times when slaves were around and it was morally acceptable. And I think that's a big problem with today's world is that right in today's world, the government is our moral. Because the capitalism morals is excluded in business, for sure. Morals are wage angry. Yeah, it's like the government is our moral system. The government, like when you think about it, the government is who tells you what's right or wrong. Either that or, yeah, yeah, it's very true. Either that or your favorite entertainer, you know, You know, movie stars aren't just movie stars anymore. They're live entertainment with social media. Rappers and singers aren't just musicians anymore. They're live entertainers with social media. You can follow their every footsteps. So, you know, our morality, where does it come from? Do we have an inherent? Do you believe that people are inherently good? And then, I would ask, even, it's not that each system like everybody is originally good. Not originally, but inherently. Like, but no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. So then the answer with that to be is typically is essentially no. I mean, because morality comes from somewhere. I think ego rules in the beginning. Ego rules in the beginning, and it never ends until you consciously wake up and consciously decide to not let ego rule anymore. So many people are still ran by ego. It's disheartening. We need humility. Being friendly is so popular, so we socialize. Yeah, being friendly is, you know, it's when people are selfish, it doesn't even work out right. Like, you having a network of individuals is so much more beneficial, even if you are a selfish person. You know what I mean? Like, even from a selfish standpoint, you would want to have other people around, good people, obviously. And then to have good people around, you yourself should be a good person, so the good people would want to be around you. So I mean, even from a selfish standpoint, it's like being friendly is profitable. Yeah, I'll be on Discord a little bit. Oh, yeah. I don't know how to you got my Discord? It should be on there. You could just click the link. It's on my profile if you just click it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I have all that now. I ain't that professional yet, man. Give me a break. Nah, just click on my profile. It should say Discord right there. He said, "Oh." Yeah, I know. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Gotta learn how to do those things. Don't see it on my profile. What the hell? What the hell? Let me see. There should be a link tree at least, and then it would be in there. Oh, if you click music links, Discord is on there. I gotta change it. I don't know. I don't be messing with that stuff too much. But if you click music links, Discord is there. I should change that to all links. I don't know why it says that. Oh, there it is. Voice chat on stream. Did you find it? Alright, no problem. Where's my water? I'm gonna change that to all links. What's expired? Discord? My Discord? Oh, you got me beat. I'll tell you what I can do. I can just pop it in the chat, I think.
Hello?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
There we go. That was easy.
Yeah. Let me just close the Twitch sound, sir.
Got it,
So
got
I
it.
don't hear you twice.
Yeah, right. Makes sense.
Alright, yeah, that was easy. Well, when you share the link, if you right click your channel and push invite people, in the bottom it says your invite link expires in 7 days, and you can push edit invite link and you can make it permanent instead when you post it on the site.
Okay, yeah, I definitely gotta do that. I gotta figure out.
Same as you.
I gotta figure out how to do the exclamation point thing too, the live action stuff. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do.
You do know how to add those exclamation points stuff?
I did it before, but no, I don't remember. I'll just YouTube or something. Oh yeah, it doesn't have a Discord channel link here.
Where are you from, by the way?
Chicago, Illinois originally. Now I'm in Florida. You?
Sweden.
Sweden?
Yeah.
How's life out there?
It's as usual. I have been living here for my whole life. I don't know what to compare with. It's kind of good. It's kind of good. Dark and cold mostly, but
Yeah. I like cold, but I like the heat down here. I'm not gonna lie. When I go outside, it's not too bad. But what were we talking about when what were we talking about?
Ego.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Ego, yeah. You can go on forever about ego now. That's a hell of a topic.
The what do you call it? The word, what you need, the need ladder, the need pyramid.
Oh yeah, yeah. What was the person's name? But from my other one or from my other stream? Or you
No. I mean, I'm just if I could get it up in your head, I would relate it to how we evolve and why some people are very much ego, because their needs are not met, their basic needs are not met, so
yeah,
they have very narrow vision.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah, I was just talking about this one too. Yeah, you got the physiological needs, which is your air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. So basically, we would say our food and our shelter, sleep. Then your safety needs, personal security, your employment, yeah, your health. Then love and belonging, relationships, intimacy, family, sense of connection. And then esteem, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, and then self-actualization, desire to become the most that you can be, which sounds like where you are, or where we.
But recently, and it fit in my mind. I was trying to do something myself when I was writing down stuff. When I searched for it, I found that one, and it was very, very fitting.
Yeah.
I could relate to it very much.
Yeah, for sure. No, it is a great pyramid, and it does make a lot of sense. And you're saying because people haven't received the basic needs, it creates a lot of ego.
Yeah. Because if you're drowning, you're not gonna think about your friend next to you. You're gonna do whatever you can to get up from the water.
Yeah, even pull them down, huh?
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If your basic needs are not met, you're gonna be desperate.
Yeah. Yep, that's 100% true.
And if you're always hunting for food, or air is kind of crucial, but let's say food and water. If you're always hunting for food and water, you don't have storage or stock, and you don't know where to get it. You always have to hunt.
You're always on the
You're gonna
verge
be in
of,
a-
yeah.
You're gonna be in a special state of mind. You're gonna do weird stuff. You're gonna rob people. You're gonna steal stuff.
Yeah, that's very true. I was talking about it last time too, and I was talking about the effects of like self-destruction. I feel like so many people are so used to the chaos and so used to not having their needs met that when they finally start to build that pyramid, they wind up self-destructing and, bringing themselves back down. And it's kind of like, because change is so hard to do, and it's so uncomfortable that sometimes we feel more comfortable in that state of chaos because it's all we're used to or all we ever known.
Yeah, much true, very much true. Relationships, why do the battered wife stay with
Right.
his husband?
Yeah.
Because that's what she knows.
Yeah, it's what she knows and what she's used to. And yeah, which is another topic, about love and the type of loves we go for and what we accept or believe love to be. Usually, typically, depending upon relationships you've seen growing up between your parents, a lot of times. Yeah.
And movies and stuff as well. I mean, I've abandoned that very long time ago. I've been trying to make up my own mind. What is love?
Yeah.
For a
It's
while,
difficult.
I didn't think it didn't exist, or at least being in love
Yeah.
is a kind of illusion that I can relate it to something more scientific. It's not magic.
Yeah. Well.
Love, feeling that you don't want something from someone. You want to do something for someone. You want to help someone. You want to lift someone up.
Yes. Yeah. Right, which is what love would be. Which is what love would be to me, for sure. What I always talk about when people talk about that, an in love kind of thing, is more of like infatuation or a facade that people fall into, a belief about something or someone. I mean, and
just getting horny.
Yeah, and you're infatuated for so long until that facade is broken, and then you fall out of love essentially. But I mean, what's more lasting? The love that you described, the wanting and willing of good for somebody, that's real love.
Yeah, like the stuff you're talking about, community and friends. That is love.
Yeah, 100%.
Love is not you want to fuck her, you want her to say stuff to you, you want her to make your dishes. That's something else.
Yeah.
That's something else. That ego talking. That's your insecurities wanting to be cuddled.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's what a lot of relationships are built upon, That's why a lot of relationships don't last these days. I mean, they're not really,
of course.
Yeah, it's not really love. It's an infatuation. But then, people have kids so young, then it kind of messes everything up for them. They feel they have to stay where they are, or then they end up single parents or, whatnot.
How old are you?
29.
29. Okay, so you're about prime right now. I'm 35 or 36. I don't really remember, but
yeah.
I'm on the way down. I know I'm on the way down. So waiting and trying to figure everything out, finding the right time, finding the right person, everything will make it never happen. So for some reason you kind of have to do the gamble
with picking a partner.
You don't really have to. You can get kids at 50, but it's not really a good idea.
Well, for a man, you can definitely do it.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do with the kid? You're gonna die when the kid is 18.
Well, that's all you signed on for was 18 years.
Yeah, but my thought is if I'm gonna get children, it's getting kind of late, but I won't. But it's an experience as well to see someone grow up.
Yeah.
Some gene
It's a,
came from you and the girl you love.
yeah, it's a big part of purpose, you know. It's a big part of purpose. I feel like, you know, populating, you know, having kids and raising them and teaching them is a big part of purpose. I think for,
Purpose.
you know, like in like just kind of naturally, you know, we're kind of, yeah. So no, you do have to gamble, but that's why, you know, if you have the love where you're wanting and willing the betterment for somebody, and then you have the trust and honesty, then you're good to go. In my opinion. But that's a very hard thing to do. Having trust and having honesty right there alone, you know, is very difficult to find. So, but, you know, so yeah, I mean, you have to take the gamble, like you said. It's a gamble in a sense, but if you have honesty, you know, that's number one, and then with the honesty comes the trust, you know. But you're you're very communicative, you're very self-aware. I cannot foresee you being in a relationship with somebody where the other person doesn't communicate, because you are naturally that person. The person, whoever you're with, is gonna be, you know what I mean, is gonna either step up to the plate or fall to the wayside. They're either gonna learn to communicate and be like you, or they're gonna fall to the wayside, because the other option is you stop communicating and just seeing as you're not gonna do that. You know, that's impossible. I feel like once you're this type of person, there's no going back.
Very interesting that you say so. I haven't had a relationship for like 7 years, but that's how it ended. The communication broke. We didn't communicate.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. It's just gonna fall apart. So, and yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Well, it's difficult with women. I don't know about the culture in Sweden, but in America, it's difficult too. Women aren't very willing to listen to men, especially if you know you're a man with knowledge. You know, I mean, you're a man who's putting in work, you know, on self, you know, that warrants attention, not because you're a man, but because of the work that you put in. But because you're a man, they're not going to want to listen. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. The issue is probably more prevalent in America than in Sweden, but fortunately, the people around me that I have chosen to be around me and that have chosen to be around me, they have the value that the gender is not. It's not a thing like that. Of course, we're different, men
Yeah.
and women.
Well, masculine and
But
feminine is usually how I describe it.
Yeah, sure, but it's not a problem. You don't have. It's more like joke. I can joke about females being emotionally driven, small, tiny, insecure people, but of course, they are. That's just me joking about it. They
Yeah.
say stuff like that about me too. But I don't. If
So-
I want a woman,
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to be honest, and I want to be honest with that woman, and
Right.
we're gonna talk about our differences.
100%.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay that we have differences.
Yeah, 100%. And but are you finding that they listen, that you guys could communicate?
Rarely.
Yeah.
But it happens. It happens.
Well, because the thing is like, and this is what I'm saying, is that like with communication brings up that honesty, and honesty is scary. And with, you know, being scary is fear. Handling fear, masculine people handle fear better. We're more inclined to be on, we're more easily available to be honest because of our masculine tendencies of facing fear, as to where the female counterpart, they're a little more, you know, not, I don't know the right word for it. They're not as inclined, it's not so easy for them to face fear. They're more emotional.
Like we value truth over emotions in certain aspects.
Yeah, essentially. So when you get into a relationship, that's what I'm saying, is like that's why it gets difficult, because you're going to want to speak on these topics and you're going to hit a wall. And what I can tell you from experience is that it's going to happen in every relationship you get into, especially because you're a man of knowledge, but you stay true to who you are. You know, you never change that, because what you're doing and who you are, I can already tell you, is, you know, very much needed in this world.
Thanks for that. Same to you.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. But
it's hard to communicate with people sometimes, or often.
Yeah, finding it is difficult. Finding people is very difficult. It's very rare. I mean, thanks to social media, look, I mean, we're connecting, but it is very difficult. I mean, it makes you wonder, where do you look, or where can you find similar-minded people, you know? This is why I started going to church again and getting into religion. I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I you know, never was serious about religion. Higher purpose, yes. Higher power. There's something more than just us out there, whether it's aliens or whatever. I believe there's a lot going on. Religion, never really my cup of tea, but lately I've been giving it more of a chance and going, because I want to be around people who are trying to be better. And if I feel like one of the most common places where that's acceptable is church. I mean, you know, I'm kind of running out of options over here.
Very interesting that you say
Puerto
that,
Rican
because
and Czechoslovakian.
I'm not into religion either. I've read a lot about it. It's interesting, very interesting, but I don't really believe in it like that. But I also believe there is something bigger, whatever it is.
Yeah, and like a higher,
Just as you, I've also been drawn to the church. I've been hanging out in church channels on Twitch and talking to the people. I don't even know why. It's not like I'm going there because
neither. I left home.
Find Jesus or something.
I left home when I was 16.
I will find Jesus or
it would have been
something,
Spanish, if anything, but
I'm
I left
looking
home.
for something else.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and that would be a good place to start. Honestly, that's you know, what else can you do? Where else can you go? Yeah.
There's a problem though when you come in there with a mind full of questions.
Yeah.
Because you kind of walk on their toes.
Yeah, no, that was
you're gonna make
scary.
them doubt their own beliefs.
Yeah, and you know, they kind of, it's a tricky situation.
They frown upon it.
Yeah,
they don't like it.
Yes, exactly. It's a very tricky situation for sure. But I think deep down inside, everybody has their doubts. They can act like they, you know, fully believe, but if they fully believe, they would be out here eating McDonald's every day, tearing up their body.
Exactly. If they fully believe, they would have followed that shit. Probably.
Yeah. So you gotta keep that in mind too, you know. But it does, when you walk in there, man, it does feel like you're being judged. Because and you are, in a sense, you know, like, it's not like we're lying to ourselves. They do kind of judge, you know. They want you, because it is their belief. It is which belief are you drawn to? Is it Christianity? I'm not sure.
Christianity is the most prevalent in Sweden, so
yeah,
we got churches everywhere.
Yeah, so that's.
But I've read about many religions.
Yeah, so that's what yeah, so the Catholic, I'm doing Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but same thing, Christian almost. Their belief is that, you know, if you don't give your life to God or believe in God, you know, you go to hell. So it's, so I mean, in the base of their religion, you're screwed, you know. So it is a little bit going on in there, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You know, you know what you're there for, and fuck it. Stick to it, stick for the growth, and you know, that's it.
But one thing that's led me.
I said no, in case you didn't hear me. I left home when I was 16.
But there's the Genesis 1, 2, and 3 about the creation story, about Adam and Eve and all that stuff.
Right.
Have you read all of those?
Yeah.
Okay, because in Sweden we didn't really. I know them for some reason because they have been regurgitated from cartoons and TV and stories.
It's very popular. Yeah.
But we never really. We only talk about Jesus, about the story after that. So I never really sat down.
I'm from Chicago, so
the books,
Spanish speaking was the main language, but I dipped.
Find something.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing about Catholic religion too, is that they I don't know exactly what the Christian one is, but in Catholicism, they essentially said that could be true or the Big Bang Theory could be true. That was from the Vatican. So they're not even, so basically, and I think there's two different stories in, fuck. Is there two different stories in the Bible? Now I can't remember. But I know that.
I read the Bible, so I remember that one. There are many different stories.
About how it began?
No, the story about Jesus, it's think about this. It's
Yeah.
like 12 people following him.
Right, right.
Everybody of them, they wrote down their diary.
Right,
And
right.
The Bible,
The
about
New
Jesus
Testament.
is their diaries. It's a compilation of their diaries. Just the same story told from different perspectives.
Yeah, that's the New Testament. The Old Testament is
Yeah.
where you have the Genesis and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly, with Moses and everything, and that's before Christianity, so it doesn't even make sense that that's confusing to me. It's
Yeah,
about Jews.
yeah, pretty much.
It is about Jews. Christianity came from Jesus 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Genesis is 4,500 years old. And Moses lived
Well-
4,500 years old. He was a Jew.
Yeah, that was what was astounding to me when I was first reading it. Was, well, I didn't even know that so basically the Old Testament was a Bible that existed, and when Jesus came around, his life and his existence came in line with the Old Testament, and that was proof of him being the Son of God or God himself. That was proof of him. Yeah, because everything he did was prophesized in the Old Testament, and then that's why
the same thing as Moses.
Yeah, and that's why everything was written out in the New Testament, and that's why they followed him as God, because the Bible, there was already a Bible in place.
Okay, now it makes sense why they're connected and why Jesus and everything. When I read the Bible, I just saw.
Yeah, you're like, well, why are these? Like, why do they bring these two things together?
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, Christianity is just a branch of Judaism.
I mean, that's an interesting take on it. I guess that is. I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, technically, that is. I mean, yeah. The Old Testament is a Jewish Bible, or no? I mean, it was written by. Yeah. Yeah, I have to look into that one now.
And also another interesting thing, when you talk with Muslims about the Quran,
yeah,
it's also about the same time and about the same people crossing each other. It's about the same area.
Yep.
They call it the Abrahamic religions. So in a sense, all these religions, I don't know, they're talking about the same people, about the same
that's what amazes me too, is how they're the same almost, and yet fight and act like they're so different, you know?
Yeah, it's like they branched off from the same old religion from 5,000 years.
So basically, Muslim or Islam believes in one God only, and the fact that Christianity broke it down to three gods, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, they find that completely disrespectful to their God. They believe in Jesus and that Jesus walked this earth, but they believe in Jesus as a prophet, like Moses. They don't believe him to be God the way Christianity does. And the fact that Christianity says that was God is disrespectful to the Islam religion, essentially, is a rough explanation of why they don't get along.
Yeah, I've heard the same, but that boils down to semantics. It's insane to say that it's about semantics, because if you translate all these books, who knows what's really in those books?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, who's even got the right translation? That's for damn sure. Yeah. I'm just taking it upon whoever translated it that they translated it right.
Yeah, look at this, man. Fucked up real good, man.
Meant a whole different thing.
Yeah.
That's funny. What time is it over there?
Oh, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Are you? What the hell are you doing?
I'm talking to someone in America about religion and morals.
I know that's pretty. Hey, if there's one thing you should be doing it for, that is that. That's a nice thing for sure.
Well, I got sacked from work. I've been working since I left school, but complicated situation. I have no work for the time being, so I follow my own rules about sleeping and eating. I feel like it.
That's right. I'm jealous of.
It's nice for a while.
Yeah, and you're looking for a new place to make a living.
Yeah. I'm in a situation where I can do whatever. Really, I have no kids. I have no wife. I got a cat. I still got some savings. I mean, nothing is holding me back really.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I know.
smart, and I can learn new stuff, and I can do wherever.
Yep. That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
But I'm really focused on where. So I'm sitting in my bed. What about you? Where's your life at?
Yeah, I'm in South Florida. I've been working with the company I'm with now for 7 years. And yeah, I mean, I basically run the company, so I don't own it, but I manage it. So
Yeah. What kind of company?
it pays the bills. Defense contracting. We manufacture parts for the military.
Nice.
Different branches.
Stuff.
Yeah, precision.
Yeah.
Pays the bills, but this is the kind of stuff that I'm really intrigued in and love to talk about and whatnot.
Must pose a real moral dilemma for you to be working there, doesn't it?
No, I mean, I believe, I haven't done anything that was really,
Not directly.
Yeah, not directly. Mostly of what I've done is, yeah, not directly, I guess would be the easiest way to say it. But this goes back to the question of morals, and where I'm from. I'm from Chicago, which is a very bad part of the United States, and I grew up. My father was shot 5 times. I have uncles who were murdered. My cousins being murdered. I grew up around a lot of death and bad things. So morality is a very obscured for me. And it's not hard for me to associate with bad things and not have a problem with it. I choose to do as much good as I can, but I guess nobody's perfect. Hopefully I don't hopefully I'm just indirect causes, I guess. But no, I mean I can't.
I'm not judging you. I'm just for the conversation.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, it's a very good question for sure. It is a very. I had a chance to work in like a more therapeutical sense for rehab for drug addicts and whatnot, but honestly, making money off of that felt like it would have caused more of a moral dilemma for me than doing what I do now. I don't want to profit off. I didn't want to profit off of it. I wanted to just help people altruistically, without return. And that's just, so I ended up staying where I'm at and passing on the other opportunities. And you never know, I could always get back into it, but I didn't want to profit. I guess really what it was is I didn't want them to think I was only there because I was being paid. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
I want to.
There's another side of it as well. People there probably don't feel very good, and they will struggle with their morals because their basic needs are not met, and they are desperate. And you will see the ugly side of people as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're very ugly. They can trick you and fool you in many ways.
Yeah, it's hard to see people like that too. Struggling, people at their worst. It's difficult. That's another thing too. It's hard to hard to see it face to face, especially on a day-to-day basis.
I've seen a lot of that stuff, but not much violence, but much drugs.
Yeah, the drugs are everywhere, man. You just can't escape that shit, no matter where you go.
No, I've been smoking, as I said, for 20 years. But of course, I've been experimenting with much things. But cannabis, I don't think it's. It does its thing. I got a bad back. I go to the doctor. They give me pills. I rather smoke, so I try to balance it out. Smoke more,
Yeah.
less pills.
Yeah, I'm sober right now. I've been sober for 7 years now, but I've never had an issue with. The only issue I've ever had with people smoking is when you're a young person and you have nothing going for yourself. Most of the time, people smoke instead of make a life. You know what I mean? Like, because it settles you and it makes you feel better. And it's like, well, right now you're young. You shouldn't be feeling better for no reason. You should feel better because you're went to you hustled. But once you're like it's the same thing like alcohol. Like, you shouldn't be drinking every day if you're fucking out here, struggling. Like, handle your shit. Then by all means, drink all you want, kind of thing. But even though I would say alcohol is worse than weed, but
let me go back to that about memorizing stuff, because when you say that, how you said you're supposed to feel bad in a sense if you don't do the thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to feel good when you achieve the thing you do. You're not supposed to feel good just by smoking and sitting there.
Right.
And that's something I realized when I found this memory technique, that oh my God, I have just programmed my mind that if I'm hungry, I could smoke. If I'm tired, I could smoke. If I'm too hyped up, I could smoke. I could smoke for everything and anything. And all of a sudden, my mind, my subconscious is telling me, smoke, all the time.
Yeah.
It's not really a problem. It is the truth. That's what's happening.
Yeah. You get addicted to it, but just like anything, you get addicted to anything. Yeah. At least with with shit like that, you're not out here,
doing really bad stuff.
Yeah, to get it, yeah.
I've been working all my life, so it's not been an issue like that.
No, that's why it's I've never really had a problem with that. It's just the problem is where I'm from, everybody I know is struggling, so it's just, and I see them smoking while struggling, like full on struggling. I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't be smoking. Like, if you can't pay your car bill, maybe you shouldn't smoke. If you can't pay your rent, if you're questioning how you're gonna pay your bills, maybe you should give up smoking. And same thing with drinking, same thing with cigarettes, and same thing you know what I mean? That's the only issue I ever had with stuff like that. I feel like for the most part with that, it's freedom of choice. It should be. Is it legal over there?
No, very illegal.
Oh. Very illegal. That's not good.
If you have smoked, they can just stop you and you have to pee in a cup, and if it's positive, you will get either a fine or up to 6 months in prison.
Holy shit.
And now they just passed a law, I think, this summer, that if anyone shares any drug, any size, it's minimum 6 months of prison.
Wow.
That's fucked up, and I don't know how
is there any
enforce that in reality.
Is there any chance in them getting away from these type of laws?
I mean, they're running into a wall, because it seems like we are the last country to really think this is a good idea to punish the people,
seriously.
Because if that fucks up your life. You can't get a job. You can't get a license for a driver's license.
Yeah, you got serious criminal offenses, and then what are you supposed to do over a plant?
Yeah, you have to just wait for many years before it clears out in the registry. But 5 years is a long time to wait to get a life.
Yeah, that's wild.
So it's very bad. I've been fucked up by the government very much because of my choices of smoking. But now, fortunately, I got it from the doctor.
That's it. Now you got it the right way. Now you gotta see if they can remove all that bullshit. Say you needed it the whole time.
They won't. It's a paradoxical situation, because I look for a job and they say, no, you're a criminal offense, and I say, yeah, because I smoked, but now I got it on a license from the doctor instead.
Yeah.
But it's taboo here. everyone thinks cannabis is the same as heroin.
Oh my God.
The older generation, they don't
This is
see
disrespectful.
zero difference between heroin and cannabis.
This
The
is
campaign here was they always said cannabis and heroin in the same sentence for like 20 years.
yeah. That's just disrespectful to people's intelligence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just.
I
Alright.
I got OxyContin from the hospital, and my mom is an educated nurse. And when I changed to this cannabis instead, she was like, "Oh no, why? Why? It's dangerous. Are you high now? Are you walking out?"
No way.
Yeah. I was like, "Come on! I was taking like the hardcore drugs, and now I'm changing to the kind of the lightest one."
Yeah, pretty much, literally, yeah.
Yeah. But no, she didn't see it like that. She's changing her mind now, though. But
Yeah, that's wild to think about. Well, hopefully they change their laws soon. America is switching. They're halfway.
Yeah.
They're almost halfway there. I mean,
no stopping that.
yeah, it's coming. So invest in some American marijuana stocks.
Been thinking a lot about it. You know, Europe is booming as well. But Sweden is the last one, the most negative one. But Europe overall is changing. Probably we're gonna get a EU law that says, but we gotta change it.
You guys are yeah, that would, I mean, hopefully.
I think so, because punishing people, in a sense, they say in the register for the hospital, it says it's a disease, it's a sickness.
Wow.
How do you treat sickness? If you're addicted to something, yeah, in Sweden we put them in jail and give them fines and make them not get a job and ostracize them. But I mean,
that's
doesn't
terrible.
Really, that's not really compatible. Saying I'm gonna help you by punishing you.
Yeah, that's terrible. It's not even close to help. It's not even.
No.
This, you guys, when it comes to that, you guys are back about a decade.
Yeah, it's true. It's very weird because our neighbors are also they are not like this. Our closest neighbors.
They're way more on the legalized side.
Yeah, you can smoke in probably most countries surrounding us. Not that they have places where you can buy it and stuff, but they don't penalize people for using it.
Yeah, that's just wild, man. That's
But
wild
in Sweden,
stuff.
If you got red eyes, you're fucked.
Yeah, they literally stop you and make you piss in a cup, huh?
Yeah. And it's not even a joke. I don't dare go outside when it's dark. Now I do it, but all my life when I was growing up, I could just walk over the street, and if they see me, they're gonna stop me because they know I'm a smoker, so they're gonna stop me.
Yeah.
Because I live in a little small town, and they just register everyone and then just hunt them.
And then that's it. They already know, and then you're labeled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just perpetual punishment.
Keep you in the system, keep you paying violation court fees and everything else.
Yep. And holding you down. I just now, as 35 years old, got a driver's license. You know, it took me two and a half weeks from opening the book and sitting in the car to getting the license. And I waited all this long because they said, no, you can't do it.
Man, that's so crazy. I thought Sweden was a good place. I thought you guys had like the best healthcare or something like that.
Yeah, we do, but drugs is just a whole other story.
But
you can't do drugs.
You just can't do drugs. Can't smoke no marijuana.
No, but if it comes from the doctor, it's okay. You can take as much as you want. It's just medicine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if it's prescribed, you can get addicted, no problem.
You know, in America, you actually have the word drug for medicine. We don't have that word in Sweden. We have two different words for the thing you get from the hospital and the same thing, but you get it from a friend. There are two different words.
What is it?
Yeah, medicine for the thing you get from the hospital, and we say narc. It's drugs. It's the bad kind of drugs. You know, it's only used for illegal drugs.
Yeah.
So people, if you get it in your hand and it's not from the doctor, it's medicine. But if you give it to your friend, now all of a sudden it's knark.
Yeah, that's
It's
fine.
that kind.
Fuck that. Now you gotta find a work from home job. That way you ain't gotta leave and you can just do what you want all day at home.
Yeah, I'm scattered with my focus. Something. I can do many things, but I'm not focused enough to know where to aim.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, I'm gonna get off of here. Next time I'm on, if you're on, hit me up and we'll keep this going. I'm down.
Yeah, sure thing. Nice talk.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Take care.
You too. Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Later. Alright then, much love. Peace out. We out here.